Hi students, welcome back to your next video. Hi students, welcome back. Today in this particular video, we will be starting off with your next topic, that is steps in planning process in your second chapter, that is managerial functions. Your first point under your steps is recognizing and identifying the problems and opportunities. As we all know, planning is the most important criteria and it is the first and foremost step in a particular organization to achieve your goals and objectives. Now, you need to always see an organization is such that problems might occur anytime, right? So for that, you need to always identify the problems and identify and analyze your strengths and weaknesses of the organization also, and also see what are the opportunities in order to avoid this particular problems from arising in future. Okay, next is collecting and analyzing information. Collecting and analyzing information is nothing but when a problem arises, you will collect necessary information as to why the particular problem has occurred in the organization and how you can eliminate this particular problem. For that, you will collect necessary information and you will select the best possible information that you require in order to solve your particular problem. Okay, so the next step is determination of objective. Determination of objective is nothing but how you determine the objective of the organization, your goals of the organization, how effectively you can plan in order to achieve the particular objective, and how you can eliminate the problems also in order to avoid the problem from occurring in the future also. Okay, next is determining planning premises. Now, determining planning premises is nothing but how you will make necessary assumptions. Okay, how you will make necessary assumptions, how you will formulate your business plans. Okay, how you will formulate your business plan, how you will bring about successful planning. It is all about determining your planning premises. How you will also take into consideration your production cost, your prices, your competitive behavior. Okay. Next is examining alternative course of action. Alternative course of action is, suppose if there is a particular problem that has been occurred. Okay, now if your planning is very flexible, you can always choose an alternative course of action. Now, in every situation, there is more than one possible course of action. As such, in other words of Kuhn or Donnell, there is seldom a plan for which reasonable alternatives do not exist, and quite often an alternative that is not obvious that proves to be the best. Now, when you have a particular problem that has occurred in your organization, you will come up with, suppose example, 4 solutions, but you will only select one possible solution which is perfectly going and solving that particular problem, right? But one more solution will be like a standby. Suppose if that particular solution which is best also is not able to solve the problem, you can make necessary changes in the solution and you can apply it in order to solve the problem, and that is why you need to have an alternative course of action. After which you have evaluation and selecting the best alternative course of action. You need to make sure that you need to put every suppose you have 4 solutions. Now you need to check with all the 4 solutions whether this particular solution is solving the problem or not. In that, you will select one particular solution which is super best in order to solve the particular problem. So you are choosing the best alternative solution. Next is determining secondary plans or derivative plans. Determining secondary plans or derivative plans is nothing but how you will implement your principal plan. Okay, these plans are basically to implement your principal plan. So basically, you have various units in the organization, right? Like you have your procurement of raw materials, you have your recruitment. Okay, for all of these things, how you will derive plans as to how you want to go about achieving your objectives and goals, and how you will formulate the main plan for the particular objective. Next is implementation of plans. Implementation of plan is nothing but once your plan effectively taking into consideration all the factors and all the external internal factors, all the possible problems and solutions and everything, after which you will implement, and you have brought in a particular you've developed and formulated a plan. Based on that, you will set your goals and objectives. You will see, as per this particular plan, whatever plan you formulated, this particular plan will help you in achieving the objectives or not. Based on that, you will implement the plan to see how effectively you can achieve your goals and objectives. Next is your feedback and future evaluation or follow-up action. Once you implement the plan, you should not just leave it. You should continuously keep checking whether that particular plan is effective, whether it is able to achieve your objectives or not, whether you need to make any changes, whether there are any factors which are affecting the plan or not, and continuously improvise the particular plan by making necessary changes in the plan. So these were the steps of planning process. Next is classification of planning premises. The classification of planning premises is, first one is internal and external premises. Internal and external is nothing but internal is something within the organization, whereas external is something from the outside organization. You need to you need to classify your you need to classify your premises, okay, how you need to plan effectively and accordingly, whether it is based on internal. You see, internal is basically nothing but, for your example, it is your plant and equipment, it is your labor, etc., whereas your external is your political, social, legal. Okay, you need to examine all of these before you go ahead with planning. Next is tangible and intangible premises. Tangible is basically that which you can, which can be easily measured, okay, it is quantitative, whereas intangible is something you cannot easily measure. And so intangible is basically your capital that is invested, your resource invested, your these are tangible premises. Your intangible could be your economic environment, your external factors which you cannot easily determine as to how these factors will affect your organization, something you cannot control. Okay, your external factors are something that are out of the control, right? Something you cannot control, so those are intangible, whereas tangible is something within the organization and something that you can easily measure and easily take necessary action and control if it is affecting the planning and organization development as well as achievement of the objective. Next is controllable and non-controllable premises. As we discussed earlier, there is something known as internal and external premises. Internal premises, it is something which is tangible, okay, whereas external is something which is intangible. Similarly with controllable and non-controllable, controllable is basically something related to your internal factors, that is internal premises, and tangible, these are some factors which can be easily controlled, okay, and necessary action can be taken easily, whereas non-controllable factors are intangible and they are belonging to your external premises, okay. These are your, again, your basically your economic environment, your political, social, technological environment. These are all of these things, your strikes, your your trade union strikes, and all of these are all the external factors which can affect your planning process. So your classification of planning premises, before planning you need to classify your premises effectively. So these are the 3 types of planning premises. Okay, your next topic is your types of plan. What are the types of plan? Planning is, so now let's move on to your next topic, that is types of plan. Now in your types of plan you have various types of plan, that is standing and repeated, single use plan. Under standing and repeated you have you have objectives, you have policies, you have procedures, methods, rules and strategies, whereas under single use plan you have programs, project and budget. Okay, so now what is your standing and repeated, standing plan and repeated use plan? Standing plans and repeated use plans are basically something that you can use over and over again, okay, you can continuously use over a long period of time. Okay, it is also basically that plan which you can help in solving problems, and you can continuously tackle those issues which are continuously recurring in which are continuously and frequently recurring in nature. So now standing plans are basically those plans wherein what happens is basically these are the plans which are there for a standby. Suppose if that particular plan you need to make necessary changes, or if you want to make any any sorts of changes, or if you want to check your efficiency, and if there are any factors which are affecting, then these particular plans can be applied, and these particular plans can be used as particular standby which will serve you as a guideline for managerial decisions and actions. Now standing plans will include various things, that is objective, policies, procedures, method, rules and strategies. Okay, now let's look into objectives. Now your objective is nothing but basically it says your definition of objective. Now definition of objective is nothing but, according to Coons and O'Donnell, it says it in a management terminology, objectives are end points of management program, whether stated in general or specific term. They are end points of management program, whether they are stated in general or in specific terms. Okay, there are various characteristics of objectives. Objectives are multiple in nature. Okay, you will have different objectives. Basically your business objectives will also be multiple in nature, because you will have objectives as per various departments, various they are multiple in nature, and you will have to formulate and form a one particular objective which will be your main objective of business. That could be your profit motive is the main objective of any business. Then objectives are hierarchy. Objectives are hierarchy because you have to achieve each and every objective to achieve the main objective. There will be one main objective, but to achieve that one main objective or the single or a particular goal, you will have various other subdivided objectives. Okay, that it could be based on your various departments. It could be HR department objective, it could be finance department objective. Okay, based on this particular objective, you will have to move in a top to lower. It'll be a hierarchy which could either be the lowest level to the top level, wherein small objective will help you in achieving the main or the main objective or the main goal. Next is objective form a network. Objective will form a network because they are continuously interdependent on each other and they are mutually supporting. Now, interdependent and mutually supporting, basically these will help you in forming network and will help you in achieving the main objective and will help you in satisfying a particular, will help you in satisfying and will help you in achieving a perfect objective for your organization. Now, objectives are both long range and short range, are nothing but long term objectives and short term objectives depending on the organization. Short term is basically for 5 to 10 years, whereas long terms it could be extending. Short term objectives are basically, it could be within a particular year. Now, your long term or your short term objective could be your survival. Okay, your long term objective could be your maximization of sales. Okay, and you need to increase profits or expand your business, whereas your short term objectives will basically be slightly different to your long term objectives. Next is business objective. Business objective is nothing but how you are expressing, how you are obtaining profits, how you are earning profits and all of that. That is your business objective. Profit making and profit motive is your business objective. After which you have business objectives, may be specific or general. Business objectives are either specific or either general. Now, either specific or general, nothing but it could be profit making or it could be your sales maximization and how individuals contribute to achieve the organization's objective. Then objectives may be tangible or intangible. Tangible is something that you can control, right? Intangible is something which is external of nature. Now, how you control and how you check the efficiency and your productivity of the organization and how you take into consideration the workers' morale and all of these things. Based on that, the objective will be set and the objective will be achieved. Objectives are priority because this is something that is really most important for an organization to survive. No organization can survive without a particular objective, motive or a goal. Okay, then objective may clash with one another. Objectives will at times clash, providing that you need to you need to make sure that you're aligning your individual objective with the group objective or the organization's objective. So these are the objectives. These are the characteristics of objectives. Next is what is the advantages. Let's look into what are the advantages of laying down objective. It will get you unified planning. Unified planning is wherein everyone are treated equally. There will be one particular plan and there will be unity of planning and there will be unified planning. Now, basis of decentralization is basically you will help in it will give you a clear authority wherein you will know as to who is responsible to achieve what kind of objective and how they need to go in a stepwise manner in order to achieve the particular objective. Then coordination of work. Coordination of work is basically how each and every department and employees coordinate with each other to achieve the objective. Motivation of individual, how individuals are motivated continuously by continuously giving them directions and showing them in a stepwise manner how to go and achieve the particular objective. Next is basis of control. When you know you have a particular objective, you will also know as to what are the steps to achieve the particular objective. So through which you will be continuously guided and directed by the managing director of the organization, through which you will have basis of control on each and every employee or individual. Next is basis of planning. Your objective will give you a base for a particular plan. Now, once you set a particular objective, suppose you want to make more and more profits, you will plan accordingly as to in a stepwise manner how you need to achieve more and more profits by expanding your business or by policies, procedures, budgets, etc. How you need to formulate each and everything in order to achieve in order to go about planning and achieving the objective. Next is approaches to objective setting. There are two approaches to objective setting, that is traditional approach, new approach by management. Your traditional approach is the one of the most oldest and the most traditional way of achieving your objectives, that is by setting of objectives. Okay, setting of objective wherein the top organization people who are there in the top organization will set objective for those at the lower level, and the lower level people and the middle level people are supposed to follow the directions which are issued by the top management to achieve these particular objectives. The new approach or modern approach is wherein the management by objective concept has come into consideration, wherein each and every employee is taken into consideration. Each and every employee decision and consideration is taken, their opinions are taken, and based on which the objectives and the plans are formed. Okay, there is something known as an alternative objective to goal setting and performance evaluation is management by objectives. It has also been called management by results, management by goals result, and goals management, wherein you are continuously checking if the particular employee or the people are working towards achievement of the objective, and you're continuously evaluating the performance to see how effectively they are going about achieving the organization's performance. Next is under the under types of plans, under the standby plans is policies. Okay, you have your policies. After your objectives, you have your policies. Now, policies are nothing but the framework. Policy is a framework of the organization in which decision making is done. Okay, it provides a framework for decision making. Okay, they act like a guide. And they help you in taking necessary decisions based on the organization structure and hierarchy. Now, what is the definition of policy? Policy's definition, according to George R. Terry, is policy is a statement, okay, which is verbal or it can be written and implied, overall guiding, setting up boundaries that supply general limits and direction which managerial actions which take place. Okay, now policies are something which provide you a framework in a particular organization wherein you can take necessary decisions. These policies are spoken verbally, it is written and implied for overall setting up of the organization. Now, you have various characteristics of policies. The characteristics of policies are, firstly, policies are formulated for all concerned as whole. Then again, for different departments, different policies are set. But one single policy will be followed by entire organization. Similarly, small policies will be set for each and every different departments. Okay. Next is they are on basis of executive action. Now, how you can basically policies will be set in a way where you can execute it. Okay. Next is they lay down broad limits in which decisions have to be made for accomplishing objective. The policies should be set in such a way wherein you are able to formulate it, implement it, and achieve your objectives. Policies are supplementary and complementary objective as they facilitate obtainment of objective. Okay, basically they are supplementary and complementary wherein they are helping you in achieving the objective. Next is the kinds of policies. Now, kinds of policies is first is originated policy. Originated policy are basically those which are formulated by managers. They are originally formulated by the managers. They are not. They are immediately formed, and they are and these are formed by the managers. And all the employees are strictly expected to follow all the policies which are originally set. Next is appeal policies, wherein appeal policy is nothing but wherein all the employees are giving their consideration and they are making necessary changes in the existing policies, and they are bringing about necessary changes. Next is external or imposed policy. External or import policy is you're taking into consideration your external factors like your government, your trade union, your associations, and all of these, and how you are formulating a policy which can help you in eliminating the external factors which will affect your organization. Next is your functional policies. Functional policies are based on the functional areas of management. It could be your financial, it could be production, it could be marketing, HR, human resource, anything based on different functions of the organization. You will have different departments, and different departments will have different functional policies. Next is policies on the basis of levels. Levels is nothing but your top level. You follow a hierarchy in the organization, that is a top level, middle level, and medium level organization. Different policies will be formed for different levels of the organizations. Next is your procedures. Now, in your procedures, you have basically it is how you are going to put in your objective and how you are going to put in your policies. Okay, how, in which procedure are you going to put the particular thing. Procedure is nothing but it is a chronological sequence, how it will go in a stepwise manner, how you will go in a stepwise manner in order to set your policies and your objective, achieving the objective. So, definition of procedure according to George R. Terry, a procedure is a series of related tasks. Okay, series of related tasks that make a chronological sequence and established way of performing the work to be established. Okay, it is a chronological sequence in which you have to go to achieve the established work or achieve the established objective. Now, there are various determinants of procedure. The determinants of procedure are basically, it could be they originate from the lower level. Okay, they mostly originate from the lower level, wherein how you need to go about achieving how you need to go about putting up your organization plan and how you need to achieve your various objectives. Now once procedure is established from doing a particular activity, every manager follows it. Ultimately it ensures uniformity in performance and action. Okay, now there are various things there wherein you need to standardize everything. Okay, your procedures will be laid down for acting to achieve various objectives, then to accelerate the performance, then you will be facilitates coordination, and you need to delegation of authority. So what is happening in determination is basically, firstly, procedure will help you in formulating a plan. Now once you formulate the plan, you will be able to establish a procedure as to how you want to achieve the objective in order according to the plan. There will be certain amount of uniformity wherein everyone will be able to you'll be able to give a necessary guidance to people as to how you need to achieve the objective and plan. Okay, then you will be laying down necessary rules and regulations based on which you will accelerate the performance, that is, you will check the performance and accelerate it. Then you will facilitate policies will help you in procedure will help you in facilitating coordination and encouraging delegation. Delegation is nothing but how you can give different procedure powers to different amount of people based on their qualification. Okay, different, suppose one person is HR manager, one person is finance manager. Based on their qualification, based on how they work, you can delegate the authority to achieve the policies by setting up necessary procedures. Now what is the importance of procedure? Procedure is basically to to ensure uniformity of action, then for decision making, for coordination, and for good standard manager to appraise the employees. Okay, you need to go in a stepwise procedural manner.